The church doors flew open with a bang that echoed like a gunshot through the stained glass hush. And there he was, little Timmy Hargrove, all of 6 years old. His sneakers squeaking on the polished oak floor as he barreled down the aisle like a freight train with no brakes. "Uncle Alex, don't do it. Please, don't marry her. Papa says you're supposed to be with him." His voice cracked high and desperate. Tiny fists clenched, face streaked with tears, and what looked like chocolate ice cream from the reception set up outside. The organist's fingers froze mid-chord, the final swell of "Here Comes the Bride," dying into a wheezing gasp, and every eye in Willow Creek Presbyterian, 200 souls strong, swiveled to me, the groom frozen mid-vow, tuxedo suddenly feeling like a straitjacket forged in small-town hell. I dropped the ring, the simple gold band Sarah had picked out at that antique shop in Des Moines, the one she'd said symbolized our unbreakable promise, and it clattered across the altar steps like a bad omen. Sarah's hand, soft and manicured in mine, went slack. I could feel the tremor ripple up her arm, her white lace gown whispering against the carpet as she turned. Her veil a gauzy veil of confusion over eyes that had trusted me for 3 years. Timmy collided with my legs before I could even bend down, his arms wrapping around my thigh in a vice grip, sobbing now. "He loves you, Uncle Alex. Papa loves you so much, and you're breaking his heart." The words hung in the air, heavier than the summer humidity seeping through the open doors, and in that split second, the life I'd built brick by careful brick, the one with the white picket fence illusion, the Sunday barbecues, the nods from Pastor Ellis about family values, cracked wide open, spilling secrets I'd buried deeper than my grandfather's old Ford in the family scrapyard. My name is Alex Harlan, and up until that muggy July afternoon in 2025, I'd convinced myself I was the king of compromise. Born and raised in Willow Creek, Iowa, cornfields stretching like God's green carpet under endless blue skies, population 2,347, where everyone knows your business before you do. I'd grown up dodging the whispers. Gay in a town where queer was still a slur tossed around like loose change at the county fair. My folks, God rest their souls, had drilled it into me. Blend in, son. Get the girl, the job, the house. Don't rock the boat. So I didn't. I dated Sarah McAllister in high school because she was sweet, steady, and her daddy owned the feed store that kept Harlan Auto Body afloat after Dad's heart attack. We drifted back together after college, me with a business degree from Iowa State that I used to fix transmissions instead of chasing dreams, her with a nursing certificate and a laugh like wind chimes. It was easy, safe, the kind of love that didn't demand you stare into the abyss of who you really were. But Jamie Hargrove? He was the abyss. We'd been best friends since kindergarten, back when we'd built forts out of hay bales and sworn blood oaths over stolen sips of Grandpa's moonshine. Jamie, with his easy grin and hazel eyes that crinkled like autumn leaves, had always been the one who saw through my bullshit. He came out to me first senior year, drunk on cheap beer behind the bleachers after homecoming. "Alex, man, I think I like boys. Like, really like them." His voice had trembled, but his hand on my shoulder was steady, and in that moment, something in me shifted, like a gear slipping into place I'd been forcing the wrong way for years. I didn't say it then, couldn't, but that night, under the floodlights, I kissed him. Clumsy, desperate, tasting of Bud Light and fear. It was the start of everything and nothing, a secret summer of stolen moments in the back of my truck, his body warm against mine as cicadas screamed the soundtrack to our rebellion. Life, though, has a way of grinding dreams under its boothiel. Jamie's folks found out. Overheard a phone call, I think, and shipped him off to live with an aunt in Chicago. For his own good. He came back 2 years later, quieter, with a community college degree in graphic design and a son. Timmy, conceived during a one-night stand Jamie called a mistake born of too much whiskey and not enough sense. The boy's mama had bailed early, leaving Jamie to raise him solo in the little blue house next to the creek. We fell back into friendship like nothing had changed. But everything had. I'd watch him with Timmy, tossing a baseball in the side yard, reading bedtime stories with voices that cracked me up, and feel that old ache bloom fresh. We'd steal glances over coffee at the diner, our knees brushing under the Formica table, but never more. Not with Timmy peeking around corners. Not with Sarah planning our future in spreadsheets of baby names and mortgage rates. The wedding had been her dream, really. Alex, imagine it. Us, starting a family here. Roots deep like the old oaks out by the river. She'd say it with that soft Iowa lilt, her hand on my cheek, and I'd nod, swallowing the lie because saying no meant unraveling the whole damn town. My sister Ellie had flown in from Denver, dragging her husband and their toddler. Uncle Ray from the scrapyard grumbled about the open bar but showed up in his one good suit. Even Jamie was there, in the third row, looking sharper than I'd ever seen him. Navy blazer over a white shirt, tie loosened just enough to hint at the wild boy underneath. He'd caught my eye during the rehearsal dinner, raising his glass with a wink that said, "You got this, Harlan." But his smile hadn't reached those hazel depths, and later, when Timmy had tugged my sleeve at the park the day before, "Uncle Alex, why can't Papa be happy like you and Aunt Sarah?" I'd brushed it off with a tickle fight, heart pounding like a busted piston. Now, here we were, vows half-spoken, the air thick with the scent of lilies and betrayal. Pastor Ellis cleared his throat, his face a roadmap of discomfort, Adam's apple bobbing like a buoy in a storm. Folks, perhaps we take a moment." Sarah's bridesmaids fluttered like startled pigeons, one of them, her cousin from Dubuque, gasping loud enough to wake the dead. Ellie shot me a look that could curdle milk. "What the hell, Alex?" And Jamie. God, Jamie. Half stood in his pew, face pale as fresh snow, mouthing Timmy like a prayer gone wrong. I scooped the boy up, his weight familiar and heartbreaking against my chest, his sobs soaking my starched collar. "Hey, buddy, shoo. What's this about? Where's your papa?" Timmy buried his face in my neck, mumbling through hiccups. He was crying in the car. Said he couldn't watch anymore 'cause it hurts too bad. I ran back 'cause your family, Uncle Alex. Real family. The church erupted then, murmurs swelling to a roar, Aunt Mildred clutching her pearls like rosary beads, Uncle Ray bellowing, "Who let the kid in?" Security. But there was no security in Willow Creek. Just neighbors who'd known me since I was in diapers, now staring like I'd grown horns. Sarah stepped forward, her bouquet trembling, voice a whisper that sliced deeper than any shout. "Alex, is this true?" Her eyes searched mine, not with anger, but something worse. Pity, laced with the slow dawn of understanding. We'd never slept together, not really. Excuses about stress, late nights at the shop, a fridge magnet from our engagement trip, to the Ozarks that red love is patient. She'd chalked it up to me being old-fashioned. But now, with Timmy's arms around me like a lifeline, the truth dangled between us, raw and unvarnished. I set Timmy down gently, ruffling his mop of blonde curls, the same shade as Jamie's on a good day in the sun. "Sarah, God, I'm sorry." The words tumbled out, first-person confessional, no script. "This isn't fair to you, to anyone." She nodded once, slow, like she'd been rehearsing this in her head longer than I'd admitted to myself. I knew something was off, but I thought love could fix it. Then she turned to the crowd, chin high, voice steady as the Mississippi in flood season. "Wedding's off, y'all. Let's give Alex and his family some space." And just like that, she walked out, back straight, veil trailing like a fallen flag. Leaving me in the wreckage, Timmy's hand in mine, and Jamie pushing through the pews toward us, his face a storm of relief and regret. The aftermath hit like a nor'easter off Lake Michigan. Sudden, fierce, and leaving nothing untouched. Outside, the July sun beat down on the parking lot gravel, turning the air to steam as guests spilled out like ants from a kicked hill. Ellie cornered me first, her toddler balanced on one hip, free hand jabbing my chest. "Alex Harlan, what in God's name? You couldn't have told me?" "Your own sister." Her eyes, the same stormy gray as mine, brimmed with hurt, the kind that comes from feeling like the last to know your own blood. "I flew 300 miles for this circus, and now it's, what, some gay soap opera?" Timmy tugged at my pant leg, whispering, "Aunt Ellie, don't be mad. Papa says love's not a circus. It's a merry-go-round sometimes." The kid's innocence cut through the tension like a butter knife through pie crust, and Ellie deflated, pulling him into a hug that smelled of baby powder and airport pretzels. Jamie reached us then, weaving through the cluster of aunts and cousins buzzing like hive mates. His hand on my shoulder was electric, grounding, the touch we'd denied ourselves for years. Alex, Shit, Timmy, what were you thinking? But there was no heat in it, just that soft Jamie worry, the one that made my knees weak back when we were invincible teenagers. The boy looked up, unrepentant, chocolate smears forgotten. You were sad, Papa. I fixed it. Jamie knelt, cupping Timmy's face, and murmured, Yeah, kiddo, you did. Then he looked at me, and the world narrowed to those hazel eyes, saying volumes we couldn't voice amid the chaos. I'm here. Finally. We retreated to the blue house by the creek, Jamie's place, a shotgun rental with peeling paint and a porch swing that creaked like old bones. Timmy crashed on the couch after a PB&J chaser, exhausted from his one-boy revolution, leaving us alone in the kitchen that smelled of coffee grounds and yesterday's spaghetti. The clock ticked loud. For 17 p.m., sunlight slanting golden through the gingham curtains Sarah had helped me hang last Christmas. No, she hung them, humming carols while I pretended to hammer picture hooks. Jamie poured us whiskeys from a bottle we'd cracked open after my folks' funeral 5 years back, the amber liquid glugging like unspoken apologies. I didn't mean for this, he started, sliding the glass across the scarred oak table. His fingers brushed mine, lingering a beat too long, and I felt the pull, like gravity, but warmer, alive. Timmy overheard me on the phone with my aunt last night, ranting about how I couldn't watch you tie the knot to someone who wasn't. He trailed off, sipping deep, the swallow working his throat in a way that made my pulse stutter. Us, Alex. It was always us. I leaned back, chair groaning, and let the whiskey burn a path to truths I'd dodged since Chicago swallowed him whole. You left, Jamie. After that summer, you just vanished. Letters bounced, calls went to voicemail. I thought you'd moved on. Found some city boy who didn't come with baggage like a whole town watching. The words tasted bitter, laced with the resentment I'd nursed like a bad carburetor. Stuck, sputtering. His face crumpled, not in defense, but raw ache. My folks threatened to take Timmy if I didn't straighten up. Said they'd prove I was unfit. Drag my name through every court from here to Davenport. I thought staying away was protecting you. Protecting this. He gestured vaguely at the room, the life we'd pieced together in fragments. Friday night poker with the guys, minus the subtext. Coaching Timmy's t-ball team where I'd catch Jamie's eye over home plate. The way he'd linger after dropping the kid off. Our hugs stretching elastic with what-ifs. We talked then, really talked, for the first time since that bleacher kiss. Hours bled into evening. The creek outside chuckling like it knew our secrets. Fireflies winking on like nature's confetti. He told me about Chicago. The aunt who baked pies but preached fire and brimstone. The graphic design gigs that paid the bills but starved the soul. The parade he'd marched in once. Rainbow flag high, heart screaming my name. I confessed the nights I'd drive the back roads. Radio blasting Springsteen. Thunder Road, always Thunder Road. Imagining pulling over, calling him home. Sarah came up, gentle as a bruise. She deserves better, I said, voice thick. I tried, Jamie. God. I tried to be the man she needed. He reached across, palm cupping my jaw, thumb tracing the stubble I'd skipped shaving that morning. You were always the man I needed. Just took a 6-year-old tornado to remind us. Night fell soft, stars pricking the Iowa sky like promises. Timmy stirred once, patting in for water, and curled between us on the couch for a Disney flick. Toy Story, his favorite. His head on my lap, Jamie's arms slung casual over the cushions, fingers grazing my shoulder. It felt like family, the real kind, stitched from forgiveness and fragile hope. But as Buzz Lightyear soared on screen, doubt crept in. Willow Creek didn't do happy endings for guys like us. Not without a fight. Word spread faster than bluegill through the county fair gossip mill. By Monday, Harlan Auto Body was a circus. Tires squealing into the lot not for oil changes, but gawkers with pitchfork eyes and Bible verses on their bumpers. Uncle Ray stormed in at opening, grease rag twisted like a noose. "Nephew, you got some explainin' to do. Church folk are boycotting, saying you're bringin' the devil's rainbow to decent doors." His face, weathered as the scrapyard rust, twisted with the war between blood and belief. I'd known Ray since he bounced me on his knee, taught me to weld at 12. Now he looked at me like I'd torched the family Bible. "Folks need their cars fixed, Ray, devils or not." But he shook his head, muttering about disgracin' your daddy's memory, and left the bay door rattling in his wake. Ellie called from Denver that afternoon, voice a tight wire. "Alex, the family's fracturing. Mom's rolling in her grave. Hell, she's probably organizing a prayer circle from heaven." Our mother, gone to cancer when I was 20, had been the quiet enforcer of normalcy. Sunday suppers, PTA meetings, a scrapbook of perfect moments. "Ellie, I didn't choose this to hurt anyone. It just was." She sighed, the line crackling like unshed tears. "Then fight for it, dummy. But don't expect tea parties. Willow Creek chews up different and spits out bones." She paused, softer. "Send Timmy a drawing? Kid's got your artist's touch. Those trucks he sketches." It was her olive branch, and I clung to it, sketching a monster truck later that night, Timmy giggling as he colored the flames day-glow orange. Jamie faced his own gauntlet. At the print shop in town, where he freelanced logos for seed companies and feed stores, the owner, Mr. Wilkins, pulled him aside. "Hargrove, love the boy's spunk, but whispers 'bout you and Harlan might cramp sales." Jamie quit on the spot, voice steady as rebar. "Then your sales cramp my soul, Wilkins." We holed up that week, turning the blue house into a fortress. Board games with Timmy till his yawns won. Takeout from Lupe's Taqueria, extra guac, always, eaten cross-legged on the living room rug. Nights, we'd sit on the porch swing, crickets harmonizing our silences, his hand finding mine in the dark. No grand gestures, just the quiet romance of shared breath. The way his laugh rumbled low when Timmy declared us superheroes against bad guys. But betrayal lurked, sharp as a slipped wrench. It came from Sarah, of all places, not malice, but the slow poison of shattered trust. She'd moved back to her folks' place on Elm Street, the one with the wraparound porch and hollyhocks nodding like nosy neighbors. I stopped by midweek, ring box in hand, returned, polished, a peace offering. Her mama answered, lips pursed thin as cornbread crust. "She's prayin', Alex. Needs time." But Sarah slipped out anyway, eyes red-rimmed but clear, no veil now, just jeans and a faded Hawkeye's tee. "I told Ellie everything," she said, voice even, handing me a manila envelope thick as regret. "Not to hurt you, to help. Photos, emails, the ones you thought you'd deleted." My stomach dropped like a seized engine. Screenshots from that summer 15 years back. Jamie and me at the river, arms slung casual but eyes locked fierce. A blurry shot from my truck cab, his head on my shoulder under starlight. I'd scrubbed my phone, my laptop, but not her cloud backup, our shared family album. She'd called it once, innocent as pie. Why? The word croaked out, betrayal blooming cold in my chest. She'd known. Pieced it together from silences, from the way I'd light up around Jamie like a faulty bulb. "Because you deserve to be free, Alex. But Willow Creek, they'll use this to bury you." Her hand on my arm was gentle, sisterly now. I loved the idea of us, but ideas don't build lives. She hugged me goodbye, quick and final, and drove off to her shift at the clinic, leaving me with the envelope and a town primed to ignite. The fire spread that night. Anonymous texts lit up my phone. "Pervert. Sinner. Get out." Pastor Ellis's sermon Sunday, leaked via Aunt Mildred's Facebook Live, thundered about false prophets in sheep's clothing. Eyes flicking my way through the grainy feed. Ray called, voice gruff over speaker. "Shops vandalized, Alex. Fag spray painted on the bay door. Cops say it's kids, but we know better." Jamie held me as I paced the kitchen. Timmy asleep upstairs, his small snores a fragile anchor. "We leave," he said, fierce. "Chicago. My aunt's got a spare room. Timmy loves the aquarium there. But roots run deep in Iowa soil. Leaving felt like amputating limbs, the Harlan name etched in every headstone back to 1842. Climax brewed slow, then exploded at the town hall meeting, called urgent by the Chamber of Commerce. But everyone knew it was a witch hunt. Willow Creek's finest crammed the folding chairs. Farmers in flannel, moms with diaper bags, Wilkins smirking from the back. Mayor Hargrove, no relation to Jamie, thank God, banged his gavel, face florid. Order. We're here about community standards. Recent events at the Presbyterian have raised concerns. Murmurs rippled, eyes on me and Jamie. Wedged in the third row, Timmy between us clutching a stuffed dinosaur like a shield. Ray stood first, my uncle, voice booming off the acoustic tiles. This ain't about standards. It's about hurtin' good folk. Alex fixed my Chevy when no one else would. Raised money for the flood relief last spring. And Jamie? Man's a single dad keepin' that boy fed and schooled. You wanna talk sin? Try throwin' stones from glass trailers. Cheers mixed with booze, the room a powder keg. Ellie had wired in via Zoom from the podium projector. Her face pixelated but fierce. Y'all raised us better than this. Love's not a vote. It's a God-given right. Timmy, bless him, piped up then, standing on his chair. Papa and Uncle Alex are nice. They make the best forts. Laughter cracked the tension. But Wilkins rose, envelope in hand. Sarah's gift, passed like contraband. Proof, mayor. Filth in our midst. The photos hit the screen, blurry, damning, and gasps sucked the air thin. I stood, heart hammering like a riveter, Jamie's hand squeezing mine under the table. That's me. That's us. 15 years ago, kids figuring out who we are. No one's asking for parades or pity, just the chance to live without your pitchforks. My voice held, steady as the creek in spring thaw. Jamie followed, hazel eyes scanning the crowd like a lighthouse beam. Timmy ran into that wedding because he sees love clear as day. Why can't we? Silence fell, heavy, then applause, scattered at first, swelling from the back. Lupe from the taqueria, old Mr. Ellis with his oxygen tank, even Sarah, slipped in quiet by the door, nodding slow. No gavel bang ended it. The mayor adjourned mumbling about further discussion. But the tide had turned, whispers shifting from venom to velvet. Outside, under street lamps buzzing like fireflies, folks clapped my back. Tentative, then true. Ray pulled me into a bear hug, whiskey breath warm. Proud of you, nephew. Your daddy'd be too hell. He'd have welded you a rainbow bumper sticker. Ellie texted, kicked ass. Love you. And Sarah, later, over coffee at the diner. You fixed it, Alex. The real vow. We didn't leave. Not then. Jamie's aunt visited, Timmy showing off his room like a tour guide, and we talked futures, not escapes but builds. A joint shop, Harlan Hargrove Repairs, with a graphic nook for his designs. Pride stickers on the window, subtle as a wink. Nights deepened our romance. No fireworks, but embers. Walks by the creek. His head on my shoulder under blankets of stars. Timmy's laughter the glue. Betrayal's scar faded, humanistic in its lesson. Truth isn't a bomb. It's a bridge, rickety at first, but strong with crossing. 1 year on, July again, we stood in that same church. Not vows for show, but a commitment circle, Pastor Ellis presiding with a grin. Timmy, 7 now and gap-toothed, held the rings. Twine wrapped for now, promises over polish. Sarah was there, maid of honor fierce, Ellie toasting with root beer. To merry-go-rounds, Jamie murmured, slipping the cord over my finger, eyes crinkling like autumn. I kissed him then, soft and sure, the organ swelling not with dread, but dawn. Willow Creek watched, not with stones but stories, ours woven in, thread by human thread. And in that moment, with the boy's hand in mine and love's weight light as hope, everything changed. Fast. Forever.